Welcome back to the Clueless Father, and we are in the 3 to 6 month section here, and the next thing I'm going to take up is a really touchy subject, and you need to know that I am just giving you advice and opinion, and in no way am I trying to supplant professional medical advice or your pediatrician, because that is the person who you should be talking to about your baby. That having been said, that's my legal disclaimer. We're going to take up what is called SIDS. That is Sudden Infant Death Syndrome. And this is really a terrible thing as a parent to have to be aware of, because it's sort of like the boogie monster, in that there is this potentially horrible thing that could take your child away from you, but a lot of people disagree on whether or not it exists or what the exact causes of it are. So it's important to know that this can happen, and there's a few things you need to pay attention to on it. Now, if you look at pretty much any source of information on SIDS, they say that it has to do with how the baby is sleeping. And they'll tell you that it's safer for them to sleep facing up, with their mouth facing up, but that can also be dangerous if the baby vomits and they don't have the movement to get the vomit out of their mouth. But they say that if you put the baby down with tummy touching the bed, that it's better and they develop faster, but there's a higher risk of infant death. And you know, at the end of that, you're like, fantastic. So basically no one wants to tell you because they don't want to take responsibility for such a tragedy happening based off their advice. So you can do whatever you want to do as mom or dad in terms of which way you put the baby to sleep. The only thing that I would do is, if there was any complication at all with the birth, or the baby was premature or anything like that, you really should strongly consider getting one of these sleep monitors that they have. They have these hypersensitive sleep monitors which will tell you and send off an alarm if the baby hasn't moved at all in like 30 seconds. These don't work so well once they get bigger because the baby moves so much that they can take it off. But they have like these sensing pads and stuff like that, and they're like $150, and you really should consider getting one of them. You can check on Amazon or some other site like that, or talk to your pediatrician. But that can help take away some of that anxiety, because as a parent, you really do live with that. Every day you go to sleep, and you know, if you sleep for 8 hours without an interruption from your baby, you can wake up going, you know, in this sort of quasi-panic. So think about that. It's something to talk to your pediatrician with. We've had our baby sleeping face down the whole time because that's the way that she naturally would go. If we tried to put her face up, she would roll over. So we just tried to make sure that there were no large pillows or blankets or other stuff that might get in the way of her breathing, just as a common sense measure. And also, she slept with us in our bed between us quite a bit. And remember that also, as an infant, you can buy these little cushion things to put them on their side. So in case they vomit or whatever, that it can go out of the mouth during that time period when they're very small and don't have a lot of movement. So those are some things to think about, because it's something to be aware of. I hate having to bring up the subject, and to some degree I worry about bringing up the subject because it's such a touchy point, but I would also feel remiss that if I didn't make some comment on it, in case it's something you're not aware of, that you really do make yourself aware of it and talk to your pediatrician about it to make sure that you do what you need to do so that you don't have to go through that. I've talked to some people who have, and all I can say is, you know, they have a lot of courage and strength to continue past that point, and every single one of them, one for one, that I've spoken to has purchased one of these baby monitors with their second child, and they didn't have the same problem. So I think that's about as strong a recommendation as you can get to make sure that you don't have to suffer the same tragedy. So sorry that, you know, I'm sorry to cover this because it's really sort of a depressing subject, but just be aware of it and do what you need to do to prevent it and from that occurring. So there you go. I think that's all I'm going to say on that.